We just got back from a 10-day trip out west, and honestly, it was incredible. The total cost came out to about $4,000 for 2 people, not including food or gas, which really isn't bad considering everything we got to see and do. We covered over 1,600 miles, exploring some of the most breathtaking places on the continent. From Glacier National Park to crossing the America-Canada border, up through Banff National Park, and then driving the legendary Icefields Parkway all the way to Jasper. It was the road trip of a lifetime.
Heading to Montana. Actually behind me, taking forever.
It was Friday, September 19th, 2025, when we left Miami. After a few layovers, we finally landed in Montana. The flights cost $250 per person, which was a steal for that kind of distance. We picked up our rental, a Ford Bronco we found on Turo for about $1,000 for 10 days. The Bronco turned out to be the perfect choice, sturdy, reliable, and made for mountain roads. We grabbed groceries and snack for the trip, then headed straight to our first stay, the Apgar Village Lodge and Cabins. Apgar Village sits right on the southern end of Lake Mcdonald, a quiet little cluster of cabins and lodges that feels frozen in time. The story goes that a man named Milo Apgar settled here back in the late 1800s hoping to farm the land. But when crops wouldn't grow, he turned to something that would, hospitality. Our stay cost $405 for 2 nights. Once we checked in, we didn't waste any time. We headed straight out to explore. Our first stop was Sacred Dancing Cascade, a hidden gem along the Going to the Sun Road. The name comes from Native American traditions. It's said this area was once used for spiritual ceremonies where water and motion symbolized life and renewal. The cascade isn't huge. It's not one of those postcard waterfalls that roar down a cliff, but it has its own kind of energy. The water glides and spins over the rocks like it's performing a slow, graceful dance. Standing on the bridge over Mcdonald Creek, you can feel the rhythm in the current, the pulse of the valley itself. It's easy to see why it earned such a powerful name. Sometimes, the smallest waterfalls leave the biggest impression. As the day started to wind down, we made our way to Lake Mcdonald, just a few miles down the road. It's known as the crown jewel of Glacier National Park, 10 miles long and nearly 500 feet deep, carved thousands of years ago by massive glaciers that once filled this valley. The colors here are unreal. When sunlight hits the surface, the water turns a brilliant turquoise, and beneath it you can see smooth stones, reds, greens, purples that look hand-painted. Out here, time doesn't move fast. It just expands. As the sun set over the mountains, we watched the light fade across the lake, gold melting into blue, and ended the night with some terrible food from the restaurant next door.
Dancing cascade stole my breath. Water falling like a new no death. Every step felt like a story untold.
Today is day 2, and I'm finally excited to really start this trip. On the agenda, the Highline Trail, Hidden Lake, and Avalanche Lake, 3 of the most famous hikes in Glacier National Park. It's going to be a long day, about 60 miles of driving and a few hours of hiking. So we woke up at 5 a.m. to get an early start.
5:30. We just woke up. We're about to go the Highline Trail.
Highline Trail.
And then another trail.
Another trail.
And
Avalanche.
it's 5:30 in the morning. All right, guys. See you on the hike.
We hit the Going to the Sun road before sunrise and managed to grab a parking spot at Logan Pass, which was a miracle because by 7 a.m., the lot was completely full.
Got the bear spray. And we're at Logan Pass. It's already 7 in the morning, completely packed.
Our first hike of the day was the Highline Trail, and honestly, it lived up to the hype. The first mile might just be the most iconic stretch of trail in all of Glacier. It's carved directly into the side of the cliffs that tower above Going to the Sun road. On your right, a steel cable runs along the rock face, there to grab if you need a little extra reassurance. And on your left, a steep drop-off down into the Logan Creek Valley. It sounds intimidating, but it's not nearly as bad as it looks. This section gives you incredible panoramic views almost immediately. The garden wall rises up beside you, and below, the entire valley unfolds. It's no wonder this part of the trail is the most photographed in the park. You feel like you're walking through the clouds.
It cut me wide open. The wind whispered secrets I couldn't keep. Sun kissed the peaks, the valleys weep. Your hand in mine as we climb so high. Clouds stretch thin across a pastel sky. Every trail led me back to you. Every view broke me.
Wildlife is everywhere here. Within the first few miles, we saw a ram, mountain goats, and even a couple of bears off in the distance. Marmots and ground squirrels darted around the rocks like they owned the place. We only hiked about 3 miles of the trail, but honestly, that first mile was my favorite. The mix of adrenaline, exposure, and those insane views made it unforgettable.
Why does beauty hurt this much? Every rock, every tree, every touch. The wild feels like it knows our pain. Loving you here will never feel the same.
After that, we hit Hidden Lake Trail, which conveniently starts from the same Logan Pass parking lot. The name fits. It feels like a secret world tucked between alpine ridges. The hike starts off with a wooden boardwalk and then opens into fields of wildflowers with incredible mountain views. Halfway in, the scenery was unreal. Crystal blue water framed by snow-capped peaks.
Avalanche Lake sparkle like a dream. Waterfalls pouring down in a silver stream. Hidden Lake hid behind the ridge. We found heaven on nature's bridge. The air so sharp it could cut through stone. Felt like the world was
We're at a Hidden Lake. We're almost there. Front row. And then we got Ashley behind me. Now this Little Lake. Beautiful. Alright. Off to
we laced our boots under a big sky.
From there, we drove about 36 minutes to the Avalanche Lake Trail, another must-do. This one's about 4.5 miles round trip and has one of the best effort to reward ratios in the park. It starts with a short section through the Trail of the Cedars, a peaceful boardwalk surrounded by towering ancient trees. Then, as you make your way up the Avalanche Gorge, you see this glowing emerald green water crashing through a narrow canyon covered in moss. It looks like something out of a fantasy movie.
reflection so clear. I caught your smile, it all felt new. A hidden lake sparkled like a secret kept. I swear the earth sighed as we both stepped in. Mountains sang, rivers hum low, every trail led where we go. Day 2 in Glacier, hearts on fire, climbing higher, chasing desire. Hidden lakes, avalanche streams, this love's more than just a dream.
Once you reach Avalanche Lake, the view opens up to a bowl-shaped valley surrounded by waterfalls streaming down from the cliffs above. It's pure glacier magic. Sometimes people spot moose here, though we weren't that lucky this time. Still, it's easily one of the most photogenic spots in the park.
This is Avalanche Lake.
Yes.
And then, all right, so we're finishing up our hike. We just did Cedar Trail, to Avalanche Lake, and now we're back on Cedar Trail and heading back to our car to grab some food.
And a successful 40,000 steps ton a day.
The Fitbit says over 40,000 steps, so
We met the goal. I think I met my goal.
let's see if we can beat that tomorrow. Just kidding.
By the time we got back to Apgar, we were exhausted and starving. We stopped by a pizza place, but the guy literally told us that ordering one without cheese would taste so bad he'd feel guilty selling to us. So we skipped it, only to end up eating at that same terrible restaurant from the night before because nothing else was open. Not exactly the dinner we hoped for, but after a full day of hiking some of Glacier's most beautiful trails, it didn't even matter. We were completely wiped out. We clocked over 42,000 steps today. Safe to say, we earned a good night's sleep. Today is day 3, and we're heading east to East Glacier, one of the quieter and more rugged sides of Glacier National Park. It's about a 2-hour drive covering 73 miles, but the route itself, along the legendary Going to the Sun Road, makes every minute worth it. We woke up around 5:30 a.m. to catch the sunrise on the drive, and along the way, we stopped at a few incredible spots. The first was a viewpoint of Heaven's Peak, one of Glacier's most recognizable mountains at 8,987 feet tall. It's often seen from the road, with snow still clinging to its jagged ridges even in late summer. A perfect snapshot of the park's wild, untamed beauty. Not long after, we reached the St. Mary Falls and Virginia Falls trailhead, one of my favorite hikes of the trip. The trail is about 3 miles round trip, or 3.6 miles if you go all the way to Virginia Falls, and it takes around 1 to 2 hours depending on your pace. It's an easy to moderate hike with gradual elevation gain, but the reward is huge. Within the first half hour, we spotted a moose grazing near the water. Definitely one of the coolest moments so far. The trail winds through a forest that's still recovering from the Reynolds Creek fire of 2015, which burned for about a month and covered over 4,800 acres. The charred trees actually make for some surreal, almost haunting views. Black trunks standing tall among bright green regrowth and wildflowers. The first waterfall you reach is St. Mary Falls, a stunning 35 8-foot cascade that tumbles into a pool of bright turquoise glacial water. You can feel the mist on your face as you cross the wooden bridge in front of it.
Winding line, going to the sun felt like touching time. Cliffs so steep they kissed the sky. I swear I saw an eagle fly. Day 3 in Glacier, what a ride. Waterfalls and trails collide from St. Mary's Road to Sunrift's Call. Virginia's Vale and Barron Sprawl. We crossed the border. Alberta's there. Day 3 in Glacier.
This is St. Mary's Falls.
St. Mary's Falls was a thunder's tune. Virginia's waters dance past noon. Hike through gorges carved by dreams. Nature's art in flowing streams. But oh, the road kept calling me to places I'd yet to see. Day 3 in Glacier, what a ride. Waterfalls and trails collide from St. Mary's Road to Sunrift's Call. Virginia's Vale and Barron Sprawl. We crossed the border. Alberta's there. Day 3 in Glacier. We were there.
Just another mile or so up the trail sits Virginia Falls, even more powerful and dramatic at around 50 feet tall. You can walk right up to the base where the spray hits you head on. It's the kind of place that makes you forget how far you've walked.
The car chased the horizon, found the stars. Day 3 in Glacier, what a ride. Waterfalls and trails collide from St. Mary's Road to Sunrift's Call. Virginia's Vale and Bering Sprawl. We crossed the border. Alberta's there. Day 3 in Glacier. We were there.
Hooks hideaway gave me the chills. Neon sign, 1,000 thrills. Creaky floorboards, midnight air. Felt like ghosts were everywhere. Going to the sun, we chase the light. Mountains are rising, oh what a sight. Falls that roar in gorgeous tight. Day 3 was ours, it felt so right.
So we're about to go to Bering Falls.
After finishing that hike, we stopped by Sunrift Gorge and Bering Falls, two quick but beautiful roadside stops just a few minutes apart. Sunrift Gorge is easy to miss if you're driving too fast. It's a narrow, 100-foot long canyon carved by meltwater with vibrant turquoise water flowing through. Bering Falls, just down the trail, is a short 0.7-mile round trip and drops about 25 feet into St. Mary Lake. It's quick, easy, and perfect if you're short on time, but still want to see something incredible.
There's the gorge.
By the time we reached East Glacier, we were starving. We stopped at the Main Lodge, a rustic restaurant with great views and that old Western charm you find in mountain towns. I got a hot dog and fries. Not exactly fine dining, but after a long morning of hiking, it hit the spot. The place was clean, except for one odd surprise, a random pair of underwear left in the bathroom stall. For the record, that was definitely not mine. After eating, we made our way to our motel, Hook's Hideaway in Banff, and let's just say first impressions weren't great. It looked sketchy from the outside, and if we had arrived at night, we probably would have slept in the car instead. As soon as we pulled up, we were greeted by a small herd of cows wandering near the driveway, a proper Montana welcome.
Going to the sun. Oh, what a sight. Falls that roared in gorgeous time. Day 3 was ours.
But once we checked in, it turned out to be a hidden gem.
Started out at Hook's Hideaway.
The rooms were clean, cozy, and surprisingly modern inside. It cost about $210 per night, and we stayed for 2 nights.
With the mountains calling, we carried on. Going to the sun, oh what a view. The sky so wide, the river so blue. St. Mary's whispered, Virginia roared.
One of the coolest surprises? We realized we were only 8 minutes from the Canadian border, so of course, we had to drive up and cross over just to take a photo. From the border, you can see Chief Mountain, a massive, flat-top peak that rises dramatically out of the plains, sacred to the Blackfeet Nation and a spot we'll be visiting tomorrow. It was another incredible day exploring Glacier's east side, waterfalls, wildlife, mountain views, and that feeling of being completely disconnected from everything else. After logging thousands of steps and hours on the road, we were more than ready for some rest before another big day of adventure. Day 4 is here, and today's plan is packed. Lower Grinnell Lake in Mini Glacier, plus running Eagle Falls and Appistoki Falls in the Two Medicine area. We were up and on the road by 6:30 a.m., aiming to start our day in Mini Glacier. But due to construction delays and limited parking, the park rangers were restricting vehicle entry. So we decided to pivot south and head toward Two Medicine instead. And honestly, that turned out to be one of the best decisions of the trip. The drive itself was incredible. On the way there, we passed a few cows just hanging out by the roadside, framed by sweeping mountain views and golden light breaking over the peaks. It was one of those small, spontaneous moments that make road trips special. Our first stop was running Eagle Falls, also known as Trick Falls. It's a super easy 0.6-mile round-trip trail that takes only about 15 to 20 minutes, but it's absolutely worth it. The waterfall is unique because it appears to flow through the rock, a natural optical illusion caused by an underground spring. During spring melt, a second stream of water pours over the top of the cliff, giving it a double waterfall effect. This site is sacred to the Blackfeet Nation and named after Running Eagle, a legendary female warrior and leader. The water here is crystal clear, and when the light hits just right, it glows a surreal turquoise color. It's an easy stop that delivers a big visual payoff.
Just the hum of the tires, the quiet profound. God held a promise, the day held his proof. Montana's a poem with no need for truth. Running eagle roared, Appistoki cried, Grinnell stood still where the blue waters hide. Montana sky.
Next up was Appistoki Falls, about 2.8 miles round trip, taking roughly 1 to 2 hours. The trail itself winds through alpine meadows filled with wildflowers and provides views of Appistoki Peak in distance. It's a moderate hike with a few uphill sections, but nothing too strenuous. Unfortunately, this was the one hike that didn't really impress us. The waterfall at the end was small and not particularly scenic compared to everything else we'd seen so far. Still, it was good exercise and offered a peaceful walk through the forest. After that, we drove over to Two Medicine Lake, and wow, this place is a hidden gem. Once one of the most visited areas of Glacier before the Going to the Sun Road was built, Two Medicine feels remote and untouched. The lake itself is about 2 miles long, surrounded by dramatic peaks like Sinopa Mountain and Rising Wolf Mountain, both of which tower above the shoreline. The reflection of the mountains on the still water is picture perfect, especially on calm mornings. It's peaceful, scenic, and feels like stepping back in time. We decided to head back north and see if we could finally get into Mini Glacier. The rangers were still turning people away when we first arrived, as the lot was full again. But honestly, the drive there was worth it on its own. The mini glacier road is a long, rugged dirt road lined with glacial rivers, open meadows, and panoramic views of jagged peaks. We used the downtime to film some great shots of the Bronco cruising through the landscape. Definitely some of my favorite footage from a trip. After waiting about 30 minutes, we were finally allowed in.
Darkness wrapped us like a heavy coat. Montana skies painted white and free. Hiking trails they're calling me.
Grinnell Lake
Where the air runs still, chasing dreams on this
Our goal was the Lower Grinnell Lake Trail, one of the most scenic hikes in the entire park. The trail is about 7 miles round trip and usually takes 3 to 4 hours to complete. It begins near the Mini Glacier Hotel, winding past Swiftcant Lake and Lake Josephine before reaching the breathtaking Grinnell Lake. The trail is a mix of forest, alpine meadows, and lake views, with chances to spot wildlife like moose, mountain goats, and bears. Unfortunately, halfway through the hike, Ashley twisted her ankle, so we had to turn back early. I was disappointed because a few hikers told us there were 2 bull moose at the lake that day, but her recovery was far more important. Even without reaching the end, the hike was beautiful, glacial streams, wildflowers everywhere, and that crisp alpine air that makes you feel completely alive. On our way back, we stopped at Lake Sherburne, right next to the Mini Glacier Hotel, to catch the sunset. The water was calm and golden, perfectly reflecting the surrounding peaks. It was the kind of moment that makes you just stop and appreciate where you are.
sky was gold. Montana morning.
After sunset, we went into the hotel and had steak for dinner, which hit the spot after another full day of hiking.
Two medicine trails, a love-lit flame.
Finally, we made our way back to our motel, Hook's Hideaway in Banff. During the day, it looked charming in that rustic Montana way, but at night, it was a completely different story. The roads were pitch black, and you couldn't see a thing beyond the headlights. It felt eerie, almost otherworldly. Coming from South Florida, where light pollution is everywhere, seeing a sky so dark and filled with stars was surreal. That said, if this had been our first night arriving here, I don't think we would have stayed.
My ship is picking it up. Oh my god. Complete blackness.
Secret sound.
The lights back on. Wow. No lights at all.
Where the world stood still, your hand in mine, I felt the thrill.
Still, after 25,000 steps, multiple hikes, and miles of exploring, we were too exhausted to care. Tomorrow, we're crossing the border into Banff, Canada, a new country, new mountains, and another adventure waiting to begin. Today, we said goodbye to Montana and began our journey north toward Banff National Park in Canada, about a 5-hour drive covering roughly 300 miles. We had a full itinerary of stops planned along the way, and I was excited for every one of them. We woke up early again, eager to catch Chief Mountain before crossing the border. The border didn't open until 8 a.m., so we had a little time to explore and film. Before we left our motel, I took the drone out to capture some footage of the dirt road we had driven down the night before, the same one that looked so eerie after dark. In the morning light, though, it was stunning. Rolling fields, rugged hills, and that wide-open Montana sky.
Red Rock Canyon blush like you saw sunrise. Oh, Canada, we're chasing the sun. Every mile closer, my heart comes undone.
Our first major stop was Chief Mountain, one of the most striking landmarks along the U.S.-Canada border. Rising over 9,000 feet high, this massive flat-top peak stands out dramatically from the surrounding plains. It's part of the Rocky Mountain Front Range, and you can actually see it from miles away as you approach. But Chief Mountain is more than just a geological wonder. It holds deep spiritual significance for the Blackfeet Nation. For centuries, it's been considered a sacred site used for prayer, vision quests, and ceremonies. The mountain's name, Ninistako, in Blackfeet language, reflects its importance as a connection between the physical and spiritual worlds. After taking in the view and grabbing a few more drone shots, we finally crossed the US-Canada border and officially entered Alberta. Our first destination on the Canadian side was Waterton Lakes National Park, which is essentially the northern extension of Glacier National Park. Together, the two parks form the Waterton Glacier International Peace Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and the first of its kind in the world, created to symbolize friendship between the US and Canada. Our goal here was to hike the Red Rock Canyon Trail, a short and easy 0.7-mile loop that takes about 30 minutes to complete. Despite being short, it's incredibly unique. The canyon walls are made of brilliant red argillite rock, giving the entire area this vibrant crimson glow, especially when the sunlight hits it. A crystal clear stream runs through the canyon, carving out smooth curves in the rock over thousands of years. It's one of those places where every corner feels like a postcard. You can even walk down into the canyon itself if the water level is low, and it's surprisingly peaceful despite being a popular spot. After finishing the hike, we made our way to the Prince of Wales Hotel, perched dramatically on a bluff overlooking Waterton Lake. This hotel is one of the most iconic landmarks in Canada, built in 1927 by the Great Northern Railway to attract American tourists during the Prohibition era, when Canadians could still legally serve alcohol. Its Swiss Alpine-style architecture, steep gabled roof, and panoramic windows make it look like something out of a European fairy tale. Inside, it's like stepping back in time. You can still feel that early 20th century charm with wood-paneled walls and grand chandeliers. But the real highlight is the view. From the lobby's massive picture windows, you get a breathtaking panorama of the lake and surrounding mountains. It's hands down one of the most photogenic hotels in North America. Next, we continued up the winding road to Cameron Lake, located about 10 miles from Waterton town site. This glacier-fed lake sits right at the base of towering mountains, and part of it actually crosses into the United States. The water is so clear and calm, it looks like glass, perfectly mirroring the snow-dusted peaks around it. Locals told us that bears are often spotted here, especially early in the morning or late afternoon, but we didn't see any this time. Still, it was peaceful and incredibly scenic, definitely a spot worth visiting. From there, we hit the road again toward Elbow Falls, a small but beautiful waterfall located in the Kananaskis region about an hour outside of Calgary. The falls are part of the Elbow River, and while they're not huge, the setting is gorgeous. Turquoise water rushing through rocky terrain surrounded by pine forest. It's a favorite local picnic spot, and I can see why. After taking a few photos and soaking in the scenery, it was time to push through the final leg of the drive. Along the way, we passed herds of cows wandering along the road again, plus a few deer grazing near the forest edge. Those little encounters really make you appreciate the untouched nature of the region. By the time we arrived at our Airbnb in Dead Man's Flats, just outside of Banff, we were wiped out. The place cost around $1,000 for 5 nights, but it was hands down the nicest spot we've stayed in so far. Modern, cozy, and perfectly located for exploring Banff and the Canadian Rockies. Today was mostly a travel day, with more driving than hiking, but it was still packed with beauty, history, and great memories. Tomorrow, we're waking up early again, this time to see Lake Louise and Moraine Lake, two of the most famous and breathtaking spots in all of Canada. See you tomorrow for what's sure to be another incredible adventure. Today is day 6, and I've been looking forward to this one the most. It's the day we finally visit Lake Louise and Moraine Lake, two of the most iconic and photographed lakes in all of Canada. The plan also includes Johnston Canyon, and to wrap it up, dinner at Bluebird Steakhouse in Banff. We started the day early, as usual, since we had to catch a shuttle bus to the lakes. Private vehicle access is no longer allowed to Moraine Lake, and parking at Lake Louise fills up before sunrise, so the park has a shuttle system that runs from Banff High School. We parked at the Banff train station and walked over to the high school, and man, that walk was freezing. The morning air in the Rockies really hits you, crisp, cold, and clean. Once the bus arrived, I was relieved it wasn't a yellow school bus this time. The ride itself was peaceful and gave me time to sit back, relax, and just enjoy the mountain views instead of focusing on driving for once. Our first destination was Moraine Lake, located about 8 miles from Lake Louise. The moment you step off the bus, it's jaw-dropping. Moraine Lake sits at about 6,183 feet in elevation, surrounded by the Valley of the 10 Peaks, a chain of snow-capped mountains that reflect perfectly on the turquoise water. The lake's surreal blue color comes from glacial rock flour suspended in the water, which refracts sunlight. It's one of those places that genuinely doesn't look real. No photo or video can fully capture it. We hiked the Rockpile Trail, a short but iconic walk. Only about 0.3 miles round trip, but with a small climb up a rocky hill that gives you that world-famous postcard view. It only takes about 10 minutes, but the payoff is massive. From the top, you see the full valley, the lake shimmering beneath the peaks, and that perfect symmetry that makes Moraine Lake one of the most photographed natural locations on Earth. It's no surprise, it used to be featured on the back of the Canadian $20 bill. We spent a while there filming, soaking it in, and honestly just trying to wrap our heads around the beauty of it. After that, we hopped back on the shuttle and headed toward Lake Louise, which sits just over 6 miles away. Lake Louise is slightly larger and equally stunning, surrounded by the dramatic peaks of the Canadian Rockies and the Victoria Glacier at the far end. The lake's color is that signature milky turquoise, created by glacial silt, and depending on the light, it can shift between shades of blue and green throughout the day.
Day 6 in Canada feels like a dream. Moraine's blue water and Johnston stream, from the Rockpile Trail to Mirror Lake shore. Every step makes me love you more.
Banff Sign smiling in the camera's gaze. Banff Falls roaring, carving out its praise.
We hiked, we laughed, we caught the elk's eye underneath.
We decided to do the Mirror Lake Trail, a roughly 3-mile round-trip hike that takes about 2 hours depending on your pace. The trail climbs steadily through the forest, starting from the shore of Lake Louise and winding up toward Mirror Lake. Honestly, if I'm being real, I don't recommend it. Mirror Lake was fine, but it's small and nowhere near as spectacular as Lake Louise itself. The highlight of that hike was actually spotting a few horses being led up the trail. That definitely added some charm to an otherwise underwhelming stop. If you're short on time, I'd say spend it by the main lake or rent a canoe instead. After finishing up, we took the shuttle back to Banff. Of course, we had stopped by the famous Banff Sign for some pictures and video clips. It's basically a rite of passage. Then we grabbed a quick lunch from a local market, some chicken to recharge before our next adventure. Next up, Johnston Canyon, one of the most popular hikes in Banff National Park. The trail to the lower and upper falls is about 3 miles round trip and usually takes around 2 hours. The path follows catwalks built into the side of the canyon walls, giving you close-up views of rushing water below.
The air so clean, packed up the car, chasing that dream.
The lower falls are about a 1-mile walk in, and you can actually go through a small tunnel to stand almost directly in front of the waterfall. Prepare to get a little misty. The upper falls are further up the trail, taller, and definitely worth climbing. The canyon itself is narrow and dramatic, with blue water cutting through ancient limestone. It's an easy to moderate hike and one of those must-see spots in Banff. This hike had me sweating. It got surprisingly warm despite the cold start, and I ended up peeling off a few layers along the way. On our way back into town, we stopped by the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel, known as the Castle in the Rockies. It's a National Historic Site and one of Canada's most luxurious and historic hotels, built in 1888 by the Canadian Pacific Railway. The grounds are beautiful, and we even spotted a few elk roaming nearby. which was awesome to see. Right next to the hotel is Banff Falls, a wide, powerful cascade that's especially beautiful around sunset.
Moraine Lake trails to the canyon side. We hiked to the top, touched the sky so wide.
As we drove back into downtown Banff, the smell of food in the cold mountain air pulled us right to Bluebird Steakhouse. And wow, it didn't disappoint. We were lucky to snag a seat outside by the fire pit, which made it even better. The food hit the spot after such a long, active day. Perfectly grilled steak, warm fire, mountain air, couldn't ask for more. After more than 33,000 steps, full stomachs, and a day packed with incredible views, it was finally time to head back and get some rest. Tomorrow's another adventure, so it's time to get some sleep. Today is day 7, and it's one of the most scenic drives in the entire world, the legendary Icefields Parkway. We're leaving Banff and making our way north toward Jasper National Park, about a 4-hour drive that ends up taking much longer because there's so much to stop and see. The Icefields Parkway stretches 144 miles between Lake Louise and Jasper, cutting straight through the heart of the Canadian Rockies. Our first stop was Lake Minnewanka, just outside of Banff. It's the largest lake in Banff National Park and stretches about 13 miles long. Its name comes from the Stony Nakota word meaning water of the spirits. Next up was Herbert Lake, only about 5 minutes north of Lake Louise. It's small but incredibly peaceful, with perfectly mirrored reflections of Mount Temple and the surrounding peaks. The calm waters make for one of the best reflection shots in the Rockies. From there, we passed by Crowfoot Glacier, a beautiful glacier that used to resemble a crow's foot, hence the name. Over time, one of its toes melted away, leaving behind a reminder of how much the glaciers have receded over the past century. Just a few minutes later, we stopped at Apgar Lake, one of my favorite lakes along the parkway. It sits right below the Apgar Glacier, which feeds the lake's bright turquoise water. It's also one of the largest lakes in Banff National Park, and if you visit early in the morning, you'll catch a perfect reflection of Crowfoot Mountain on the surface. This lake is a great quick stop, right off the highway, and you can even grab a short walk to Numberteejaw Lodge, a historic lodge that's been here since the 1920s. Back on the parkway, our next stop was Waterfowl Lakes, a pair of emerald green lakes surrounded by dense forest and snow-capped peaks. These lakes are fed by the Mistaya River, and on calm days, the reflections of Mount Chefrin are unreal. It's one of those spots where you can pull over, step out of the car, and just stand there in silence. All you hear is wind, water, and maybe the occasional bird echoing through the valley.
So we're at Waterfowl Lake. This is the creek that's coming off of.
Day 7 started with the open road. A sky so blue it could carry the load. Herbert Lake whispered, still and clear. Reflections of mountains pulling us near. And the trees, they sang, oh the trees, they sway. Every mile a story, every turn a parade. From Lake Minnewanka to Ball's Embrace, waterfowls mirror time slowed its pace. Peyto's blue like it fell from the skies. Oh Canada, you steal my eyes. You steal my Mistaya Canyon carved its song so deep. The rushing waters where secrets sleep. Sunwapta's roar.
Next was Mistaya Canyon, an underrated gem along the Icefields Parkway. It's about a half-a-mile walk from the parking area, and the canyon itself looks like something from a fantasy movie. The Mistaya River has carved smooth, swirling shapes into the limestone walls, creating these natural curves and tunnels that look almost otherworldly. There's a narrow bridge where you can look straight down into the canyon and watch the rushing blue-green water below. It's short, easy, and one of the most photogenic stops on the parkway. After that, we made it to one of the highlights of the entire route, Peyto Lake. This is the lake that's shaped like a wolf or a fox head when viewed from above, and it's one of the most famous views in all of the Rockies. The color of the lake is an electric turquoise that looks unreal in person, caused by glacial rock flour from the nearby Peyto Glacier. The overlook is a short 7-mile hike from the parking lot and is absolutely worth it. Standing there, you can see why this spot has been photographed millions of times. It's like looking down into a piece of living artwork. From there, we continued north toward the Columbia Icefield, home to the massive Athabasca Glacier, one of the 6 principal toes of the Columbia Icefield. This glacier is roughly 4 miles long and up to 1,000 feet thick in places, but it's sadly receding about 15 feet every year due to climate change. When we got there, it was freezing cold and insanely windy. You could literally feel the ice in the air. It's humbling to stand there knowing that you're at the edge of one of the largest accumulations of ice south of the Arctic Circle. There are tours that take you right onto the glacier with special buses, but even standing at the base was an unforgettable experience. Back on the road again, our next stop was Sunwapta Falls, located about 35 miles south of Jasper. The name Sunwapta means turbulent river in the Stoney Nakoda language, and it's easy to see why. The falls drop about 60 feet through a narrow canyon, with a dramatic island splitting the water before it plunges over the edge. The viewpoint is super close to the parking lot, so it's an easy but powerful stop. A short drive later brought us to Athabasca Falls, another highlight. Even though it's not the tallest waterfall in the Rockies, it's one of the most forceful. The Athabasca River squeezes through a narrow gorge and crashes down with incredible power, sending mist into the air and creating rainbows on sunny days. There are multiple viewpoints, and if you walk down the trail a bit, you can see where the water has carved deep holes into the rock over thousands of years. We finally made it into Jasper, where we decided to stay the night at the Athabasca Hotel. The Athabasca Hotel, built in 1929, is one of Jasper's oldest and most historic hotels. It's right in the heart of downtown and has that old-timey, alpine charm, creaky floors, vintage decor, and a cozy lobby that feels like stepping back in time. It cost us $244 for the night, and honestly, it was worth it just to get off the road and rest. We dropped off our bags and walked around downtown Jasper, which immediately gave off a different vibe than Banff, smaller, quieter, and more relaxed. We found this spot called SUE Taco Mexican Lounge, and the food hit the spot. The elk taco was surprisingly delicious, tender, flavorful, and definitely something unique to the region. After that, we walked back to the hotel, full and exhausted. Jasper really had this charm. Mountain air, quiet streets, and a sky full of stars. I wish we had more time to explore it, but after a full day of stops, hikes, and over 300 miles of driving, it was time to call a night. Tomorrow, we're off to explore another national park. And if today was any indication, it's going to be another day full of adventure. Today is day 8. And this trip is sadly coming close to an end. We left Jasper early in the morning and made our way to Yoho National Park to check out Takakkaw Falls, the Natural Bridge, Emerald Lake, and Wapta Falls before heading back to Banff. It's about a 5-hour drive, not including all the stops, so we knew it was going to be a long day. Because of that, we woke up at 5:30 a.m. to get an early start. We drove again along the Icefields Parkway, and for some reason, the drive back felt even more beautiful than before. Maybe it was the morning light, or maybe we were just soaking in every last bit of these incredible views. Either way, it was absolutely stunning.
Heading to Yoho National Park. 6 in the morning. And 5 hours to get there.
scrape the sky, mountains laughing as we're flying by. Nature's a painter with a reckless hand. Every turn's a masterpiece across this land. Banff lights up, the night's alive. Downtown's buzzing, we've arrived. Highways and waterfalls, we've seen it all. Natural bridges where the rivers brawl. Emerald dreams in a crystal lake. Wapta whispers, hearts awake. We keep rolling, oh, we can't stop. Highways and waterfalls, we've seen it all.
Never had this morning before in my life. I'm driving so much.
We've seen it
Everything sucks.
Our first major stop was Takakkaw Falls, and you can actually see it from the road as you drive up, which instantly gets you excited.
Highways and waterfalls, we've seen it all. Natural bridges where the rivers brawl. Emerald dreams in a crystal lake. Wapta whispers, hearts awake. We keep rolling, oh, we
Once we parked, it was only a short, easy walk to the falls, but wow, what a sight. Takakkaw Falls is one of the tallest waterfalls in Canada, with a total height of around 1,224 feet and a main drop of 833 feet. The name Takakkaw comes from a Cree word meaning wonderful or magnificent, and honestly, that describes it perfectly. The falls are fed by the Daily Glacier, part of the Waputtik Icefield, and the sound and mist from the water are absolutely mesmerizing.
The road stretched out where the wild winds blow. Takakkaw's roar, a voice I can't ignore. But your silence cut deeper, left me wanting more. Natural bridges.
Our next quick stop was at the Upper Spiral Tunnel viewpoint. These tunnels are an incredible engineering marvel. They were built to help trains safely navigate the steep elevation changes in the Rockies by looping through the mountain in giant spirals. From the lookout, you can sometimes see the same train entering and exiting the mountain at two different levels. It's really something you have to see to appreciate. Then we made our way to the Natural Bridge, a beautiful natural rock formation carved by the powerful Kicking Horse River. Over thousands of years, the rushing water eroded the softer rock underneath, leaving behind a stone bridge that arches over the turquoise water. It's one of those quick stops that makes you realize how powerful and creative nature can be. Next up was Emerald Lake, one of the absolute gems of Yoho National Park. The water here is an unreal shade of turquoise green, caused by fine glacial silt that reflects sunlight in a way that gives it that glowing color. There's a 3-mile loop trail that goes all the way around the lake, and it's just breathtaking from every angle. You can even rent canoes and paddle across the lake for some amazing views. The calm water perfectly reflects the surrounding mountains. It's peaceful, photogenic, and one of those spots that makes time feel like it's standing still.
I saw it all, but I felt so small. Emerald dreams in a lake so blue, but every view just led me back to you. Oh, Banff lit up, but my heart stayed dim, winding roads and walls.
The last stop of the day was Wapta Falls, located on the Kicking Horse River. The trail to the falls is about 3 miles round trip, pretty flat, easy, and totally worth it. The waterfall itself isn't the tallest, but it's incredibly wide, about 500 feet across, and the sheer power of the water rushing down is humbling. Standing there, feeling the mist and hearing the roar, it made every ounce of travel fatigue disappear. It's one of those places that just makes you forget about everything else and appreciate the moment.
But your silence cut deeper, let me wanting more. Natural bridges that we couldn't build, echoes of love, the air growing still. Winding roads and waterfalls, I saw it all, but I felt so small. Emerald dreams in a lake so blue, but every view just led me back to you. Oh, Banff lit up, but my heart stayed dim. Winding roads and waterfalls. still chasing him. Wapta's mist kissed my skin like rain, but it couldn't wash away the stubborn pain. Downtown lights dim,
And we were all the way down on that rock.
crowds of faces, yet I felt unknown. The Rockies stood tall, but I felt so low. A shadow of love in the evening's glow. Winding roads and waterfalls, I saw it all, but I felt so small. And emerald dreams in a lake so blue.
After Wapta Falls, we made the drive back into downtown Banff and took a slow, relaxing stroll around town. The air was crisp, the lights were warm, and Banff just had that perfect mountain town charm that makes it hard to leave. It's crazy to think this trip is almost over. After so many days on the road, so many hikes, lakes, and waterfalls, it's starting to sink in that this journey is winding down. We got another long day of driving tomorrow, but for now it's time to rest and take in how special this trip has been.
We started the day in the quiet cold. Athabasca skies painted stories untold. Miles of highway, trees stood tall, chasing dreams, but catching the fall.
We're on the road again.
Takakkaw roared like a
Little tired. Last full day of hiking, right?
spray hit my
No, yes. Last full day of hiking, and then tomorrow, 7-hour drive back with some intermittent hikes. And we've already drove about 1,200 miles since the trip.
Yeah, which is a lot. Kind of like Colorado trip, but the views are amazing.
Every turn was a piece of the past, but the road, oh the road, it moves too fast.
Today is day 9, and sadly, it's our last full day of this incredible adventure. We're leaving Banff and heading back to Montana, about a 6-hour drive ahead of us. I'm honestly not looking forward to the drive, but I'm trying to take it all in before this trip officially ends. We had a few stops planned along the way: Marble Canyon, Olive Lake, and then Lussier Hot Springs before finally reaching our mirror house for the night.
I think 6:30.
6:20.
6:20, and we're heading out. See ya.
We got to Marble Canyon around 7 a.m., and wow, it was freezing. But the beauty of this place made it worth every shiver. Marble Canyon is located in Kootenai National Park, and it's carved by Takakkaw Creek, which runs a stunning turquoise color due to the glacial silt. The canyon itself is half a mile with a series of bridges that let you look straight down into the deep limestone chasm. Some parts drop over 150 feet. It's a short, easy walk, but every viewpoint feels more dramatic than the last. In the early morning, the mist rising from the canyon and the sound of rushing water make it feel like something out of fantasy movie.
Like secrets kept, like words unsaid. Reflections cracked, my heart had pledged. That mirror house showed who we are, close but distant like a star.
After taking a quick look at Olive Lake, which is a small but beautiful emerald green lake right near the highway, we continued our drive toward Lussier Hot Springs. Originally, we were supposed to stop at Radium Hot Springs, but they were closed, and honestly, I'm glad they were because Lussier turned out to be one of the highlights of the trip. Getting to Lussier Hot Springs is an adventure in itself. It's located in White Swan Lake Provincial Park, and to reach it, you have to drive about 11 miles down a winding gravel mountain road. At first, it feels like you're going the wrong way, but trust me, it's worth it. These natural hot springs sit right beside the Lussier River, surrounded by forest and mountain peaks. There are several pools built out of rocks, with temperatures ranging from around 108 degrees in the top pools to cooler ones closer to the river. The contrast between the hot mineral water and the cold mountain air is unreal.
I was close. Good? Yeah. A little slippery? Yeah, it's all minerals in the rock. It's like, whoa.
Marble Canyon whispers deep in.
After soaking and relaxing for a while, we packed up and officially crossed back into the U.S., back to good old Montana.
Next to you, it's been there still today. There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Our final stop for the night was at the Mirror House, a small, modern cabin located on a quiet farm. It cost $205 for the night, and I'll admit I was hesitant at first, but it turned out to be one of the coolest places we stayed.
Here's our mirror house.
The house has mirrored windows on the outside, reflecting the surrounding fields and mountains, so it almost disappears into the landscape. Inside, it's cozy and minimalistic, but the best part was lying in bed and being able to see all around you through the glass walls. The bathroom is just a short walk away, but the peace and view make up for it completely. The link to the stay is in the description if you're curious. We watched the sunset over the open fields, and it was the perfect way to end this trip. In total, we walked over 85 miles, drove more than 1,600 miles, and spent over 51 hours on the road. Every single minute was worth it, from the turquoise lakes to the mountain hikes, from the early mornings to the cold nights. This trip was unforgettable. I feel like I'm leaving a part of myself in the mountains of Montana and Banff. This was, without question, the best 10-day itinerary I could have imagined. As this journey comes to an end, I can't help but feel grateful. Grateful for every early morning, every long hike, and every mile that took us somewhere new. From the peaks of Glacier to the turquoise lakes of Banff, every view reminded me how small we are compared to the world around us, and how alive you can feel when you truly explore it. These past 10 days were more than just a trip. They were a reminder to slow down, to breathe, and to appreciate the simple things, the sound of rushing waterfalls, the warmth of the sun after a cold morning, and the people you share those moments with. We walked more than 85 miles, drove over 1,600 miles, and watched the sun rise and set across 2 countries. But what I'll remember most are the quiet moments, standing still in the mountains, realizing how lucky we are to be here. As we pack up and head home, I know a part of me will stay here, in these valleys, in these lakes, in the stillness of these mountains. This adventure may be over, but the memories will last a lifetime. Until the next journey, thanks for coming along for the ride.